thing to be deployed, diba? So that can be really quick. So
Well, there is this veneer of order that's on the surface, and like speaking from like my experience lang, because like I grew up in the hood in the so like among silingan is like squatters, and those are the kids that I grew up with, and I remember being like 11, 12 years old. Na there was like some guy got beat up somewhere, and then like the police just grabbed like one of my friends because they didn't know who did it. Now, it, in a place in society where you know you have the resources to kind of like if a police harasses you, you could lawyer up and like defend yourself. But in a place where you don't have that,
Mm.
in a situation where you don't have that, then it kind of is very apparent that yeah, it's just a veneer of order that we kind of have as a society. That at the end of the day, it's still very like basic like human instincts. Yeah. When I was talking about this with my friend recently about racism and George Floyd and all what's happening, now I think people are racist because they don't see themselves and the people that they're being racist to. Like say you're a Filipino guy, and then there's another Filipino guy who committed something, and then you instead of like being brutal to that guy, you kind of see yourself. You kind of see that guy kind of looks like my dad. That guy kind of looks like my uncle, my friend that I'm familiar with. Now if you're a different race, then you kind of more distance or detachment into the connection of that human being.
Sure.
Like, you see like if you're a like brown dude and then you see like a little white kid, yeah, that's a white kid. But if you see like another Filipino kid, that reminds you of like kids from your childhood and more human connection. And I think that's why like a lot of people are racist because they don't yeah they kind of let the animal instincts like kick in of just like this fear and self-preservation, and then the immediate response is violence and yeah, shit.
Yeah. I think
yeah,
in
and
terms
then
of familiarity bias, mas
Yeah.
not affinity to things that are familiar. Kanang ni more na kay relate, mas empathetic ka. Plus ang police na more kanang authority figure, so nas like kanang more na power kunay against nimo.
Mm.
So another factor in like pwede ma-abuse. Yawa, pagid kayo more mga consequences, wala yung mga accountability. So it's a fucked up system.
Yeah.
let's say hello to Jason. What's up, Jay?
Hey guys.
Hey,
Hey, hey,
naka-request.
Tardy.
Huh?
Hey, Tardy.
Sorry.
Nakay pa shout out, Jay.
No, I'm good.
Si Jeremy nagpa shout out siya.
To whom?
Ako mga magpapa. Hello, ako
I
fan.
don't know.
Alexei.
Ako ba sa
Uh,
mga utangan? Shout out sa mga utangan, pamayad na mo.
You know, so I was so I love like sorry Jay, you're just gonna have to catch up. Basically, we were talking about like these protests that are happening, ba? No?
yeah, good.
And then so I love Malcolm Gladwell. He's like one of my favorite authors, and he has a podcast. And when this whole George, what's his name, Koy?
George Floyd.
George Floyd thing happened. So he released the podcast. It's an excerpt from his book, and then he's talking about like how how to get like how to basically he was talking about like leadership and how to get people to follow. And one of the basic tenets that is that every parent kinda knows, instinctively knows. Every good parent anyway is if to be fair, yeah, it has to be fair. So you cannot like uh you cannot you cannot like one child cannot have you cannot I'm lacking the words here. The one child, you cannot favor one child over the other, so it has to be fair. Then it has to be predictable, no? So meaning the rule today has to be the same tomorrow, and then the next day, and next day, and next day, and then they have to feel like they can speak up and be heard. And that's what he was saying, because he was talking about these like I'm gonna butcher it now, but like these towns in like Ireland or something. So there apparently there was this 30-year war. I don't know if you guys know about that. Anyway, and yeah, between the Catholics and Protestants.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Diba?
it's a whole another
Yeah.
Trouble.
So
page in history. Yeah.
so we're kind of seeing that now, like with at least with the Philippine government. I don't know what it is with like the with in the U.S. But like over the years, it our laws do not feel predictable. Sometimes they do not feel fair. And then now we've seen a case where like in the case of the protests in UP Cebu, now it doesn't seem like kanang we can speak up and be heard. That's why this is so discerning, no? And yeah, we're talking about Jay and Moragino. So like because of the pandemic, uh, it's very easy for governments in general all over the world to use it as an excuse to control their population or their people.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, and I was just talking about how, if you're in one place in society where you have the resources to like defend yourself against unlawful acts like, like unlawful arrests or shit like that, then this is kind of like, oh wow, they do this, but like, if you grew up, it's a, less privileged part of society, it's been happening ever since, like,
You know?
yeah. But it's karon man good na, there's more venue to like see what's actually happening. I think people are just starting to like, oh shit, fuck, this is bad.
Yeah. Do you see any of that in the US, Jer? Like kanang you guys have like your own different, you know, obviously you guys have a lot different things happening, no? But what's the temp now there where you are? You're in San Francisco.
Yeah, so San Francisco, I guess ang vibe kay more I guess ang naka-unique sa San Francisco, more daghan active gid kay ang city in terms of like protests. So like more importante kay sa city nga mga issues nga mga social justice. So of course na protest sa kuan pag Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They can nag-march ana unya kuan kanang ang mayor nag-oppose tabo ana. Luckily so far sa San Francisco dili kaya naka-violent ang mga protest, but tungod sa na sa mga pang gentrify nga lugar nga mahal na kay ang city nga tanan mga tao nga di ka afford gi-move na to Oakland, yeah, or kanang there's like tungod ana or di kay siya gubot but at the same time sad siya kay mga tao nga affected sa phone kay wa na diri.
You're in an upper class neighborhood, right?
Ang Tibok City, I think
Oh, city.
ang
Good
whole
for
So many
city,
homeless people though. For like, that's what
Yeah.
blows my mind about San Francisco, Judd. Okay, San Francisco is just like the utopia of the left. like it's so open, so tolerant. You can be as gay as you want. You can look however you want. But then they're also very like ang kanang charity system. Grabe sa gayo that I don't know if it's true, but like states are basically shipping their homeless people to San Francisco because they have
Funny
more
here.
like welfare, because it's like privately funded by like Twitter and Facebook and all Google, all these like giant like tech companies that are based there.
Yeah,
Wow.
seriously, like kumato ka sa downtown, like tan neighborhoods, okay ra, for makating 1 point sa downtown ito like Tenderloin, more agnes Manila, ba? Or
Yeah.
slums,
You,
bigas sa,
you see like needles on the street, like heroin needles.
Bitaw?
yeah,
But rent is cheap, I heard, kind of area.
it is very cheap. Clear kay ko. Pero kung lalaka kami dito, pati sa gabi, okay naman.